Greetings and welcome. Thank you for coming. I'm glad you could be here today. Before we begin, please take a moment to smash those like and subscribe buttons down below and perhaps drop a comment if you're feeling so inclined. And while you're at it, go ahead and check us out over on Patreon. Lots of cool stuff going on over there. Link is in the video description and at the top of my YouTube page. And before I get too much further, let me give a quick shout out to my Tier 4 patrons, Russ of the Frozen North, New 5AC, Nick, and Zachary Langmead. Thank you very much. Now, on with the story. Deathworld Origins. A story by user Captain Meta 4. Chapter 6. Approximately 65 million years before Vancouver. Imperial Spaceport, Outer Wastes, Vstrath, Strakel. It was quiet. The last of the shuttles had departed for the day, and the crew was getting ready to clean up and go home for the night. Near one of the landing pads, a spot of dirt began to move. Coincidentally, this was the same landing pad where Baton had scanned Vezek's mind just a few months prior. A luminal sensor extended from the ground. After the sun set, the small infiltrator drone climbed up from its small hole and began silently creeping its way towards the city. Its progress was slow, as it was programmed to evade detection at all costs. 10 hours later, it had made its way to the inner wastes. As the sun began to peek over the horizon, the infiltrator buried itself in the ground. Zhadersil, Drassik.
So, it looks like...
Drassik pulled up a planetary model on his tablet. It was covered in irregular black splotches.
Igrean farmland is nearly 20% infested, and Igrave's crop is just over 1% dead.
Igrean war over soon? Few months perhaps,
responded Mezhir.
That is what it looks like.
What is next stop?
Ka spoke up.
According to the itinerary, we have to make a stop on Grit. Then we hit Igrave and Igrave. Good to know.
Mezhir looked at his tablet.
Shift starts soon. We get to work.
House of Codes, Agreus, Teneus.
Baton, I've got something for you. Please tell me it is something good. Almost. I found a connection between Igreat and Igrave. You're kidding me. Already? Yep. 2 days before the first signs of blight appeared, a galactic compact cargo cruiser, registration G01986, had an unscheduled drop from warp in the immediate vicinity of each planet. According to the minor incident reports, in each case they stated it was due to debris disrupting the warp field. I thought debris didn't matter to a warp field. Not modern ones with kinetic shielding and interstitial spacing. Older ones perhaps, but here's the thing. In both cases, the vessel was reported to re-enter warp along the same vector only a few seconds after dropping out, leaving behind a trail of debris to burn up in the atmosphere. How is that important? If it's old enough to be knocked out of warp by debris, then it's too old to be able to recalculate warp vectors that fast. So this ship is pretending to lose warp, dropping biological contaminants on our colonized worlds and sailing off again? That's what it looks like. That's disturbing. You have contacts in the House of Shields, right? Let them know that any unscheduled drop from warp is to be immediately met with full firepower. No hailing, no warning, no delay. Full strength gravity spikes and pulse cannons. No questions asked. I'll tell them right away. If you can swing it, I'd also like a network of orbital fighters to destroy any debris. I think that should be doable. And Baton? Yes? Good luck.
1 week later, Zhadersil, Drassik.
1 minute to Igrave drop window,
Drassik announced.
Airlocks open. Drones ready,
Mezhir responded. This would be the third drop, and it was supposed to be the easiest. Igrave was the least developed Igrean farm world, and also one of the most amicable to life. The Igrean crops would never stand a chance against the Deathworld microbes.
I sent Var and Dorn off on errands,
Announced Xagh through the radio.
Ship on my mark, execute the command sequence in this memory card. Drones outside, waiting for warp drop,
Said Mezhir.
Mark.
The Zhadersil dropped out of warp near Igrave. Mezhir guided the drones out of the warp bubble while Drassik plotted trajectories and uploaded them. And then the Zhadersil rocked under a barrage of kinetic pulses. Moments earlier, Planetary Security House of Shields, Igrave, Morv.
I have a large cruiser making an unscheduled drop from warp,
Morv shouted.
Damn! Gravity spike out now!
Somebody shouted back.
Spike deployed. Firing pulse cannons. They aren't getting away this time.
Morv watched the screens intensely. He had heard about what had happened to Igreat in Igrean, and he wasn't going to let anything happen to another world. Zhadersil. Drassik.
They knew we were coming!
Drassik shouted to the radio.
Obviously, Xagh shouted back. I am putting up all the shields. Drones deployed. Go warp,
Added Mezhir.
We are in a gravity spike. We literally cannot go to warp. Space-time is too distorted. And never tell me what to do on my ship.
Drassik grabbed his tablet.
Then I apologize for this, but I need to get into the Xenon cannons.
Xagh cursed.
Deceiver, take you. This is my ship. Ship, give weapons access to Drassik.
Drassik thought back to the surveillance maps that had been included in the mission briefing. He found the target for the Xenon cannons and fired. Planetary Security House of Shields, Igrave, Morv.
What's the status? Asked Morb's supervisor.
They've been taking almost a full minute of continuous pulse cannon fire. The whole cannon array is concentrated on them. The gravity spike is holding steady too.
Excellent.
The gravity spike emitter chose that moment to collapse into a toxic puddle of molten metal and flow into the newly created hole in the ground below it. Zhadersil. Drassik.
I hit it! I hit it!
Drassik shouted.
Gravity spike is down. Re-entering warp,
responded Xagh. For a moment, the warp-filled emitter fought with the incoming cannon pulses to envelop the ship, and then they were gone. A few hours later, Eternal Thought. Teneus. Teneus was just about to enter Batone's office when he heard her screaming.
Tell me why exactly you didn't have fighters in orbit, and you'd better have a good answer or I swear on my life I will eat your spawn. What do you mean they're too expensive? Not in the budget? Not in the budget! I'll tell you what's not in the budget. Multiplying the global agricultural production of Igreans and Igrave by 250% to sustain Igreat, Igreum, and Igrave because the man charged with the production of Igrave couldn't find the testicles to do his job. That's what's not in the budget. Then you tell the waste of oxygen at the high house to shove their stinking budget so far up their glands that it comes out their eyeballs. And then you put the fighters in orbit anyways.
Teneus had been hoping to get a report on the incident over Igrave, but, well...
You'd better hope that the blight doesn't get started on Igrave, or I will personally stuff blighted snock down that hole you call a mouth. Slam.
Teneus hesitated a moment, and then knocked.
Come in. I'm afraid I have some bad news for you. Leor at the High House has denied our request to publicize Superstim. Did he tell you that before or after Igrave was attacked? It was before. Ask again and see if that overly paid waste of space changes his mind. Use plenty of buzzwords, too. Existential threat, last resort protection, end of life as we know it, because we're cutting it too close for comfort even as it is. And if we lose Igrave, we won't be able to prevent a madness outbreak.
One step ahead of you, Batone, already done.
I suppose you being ahead of me on that is a shred of good news in this wreck of a situation.
How's Creole doing?
He's working his glands off getting the tugboats ready, but we also have to scale back Cataclysm again to just the 8 core Vastraki planets. There are 3 minor colonies, Afrag, Kolvu, Gricht, and as far as we can tell, they have no females there. Igrave is our main supplier of steel and has turned into a ghost world. Everyone who can afford it is fleeing, and evacuations on Igrean have started as well. With just 8 targets, we should be able to launch in not too long.
Taneas' old fear of the madness were creeping up again.
If we lose Igrave, how long will we be able to stave off the madness for? House of Fields says that they've begun terraforming and farming operations on another planet. I think they call it Igrave. If Igrave goes down, the supplements will run out in a week or so before the first Tanakh harvest. Though I'm sure we will be able to allocate the last of the supplements to Eternal Thought to contemplate Cataclysm and to Igrave to begin rebuilding. Small comfort, considering we've pretty much lost already. I know. At least we'll be able to take the Vastraki savages down with us.
1 day later, Zhadersil, Drassik.
How much damage? Asked Mezhir.
Xagh put up his inspection report.
The side of the Zhadersils took a pounding, but it held just fine. No meaningful damage. You did a good job with the Geron cannon, Drassik.
Thanks, said Drassik. I think one of the drones made it to the planet's surface, too. I had also set my personal tablet to pick up some data from the Galactic Compact Network during our attack. It looks like Igrave is almost completely consumed with its fungal infection, and Igrave is well on its way.
This is great news, replied Xagh, but we still have 2 problems. First, we need to change our tactic for Igrave and Igreus. Another 5-second drop from warp is just going to get us another gravity spike and kinetic pulse barrage. And second, we might need to brief Var, Dorn, and possibly the rest of the crew on the mission. They're going to want to know why we detoured from a cleared space lane into hostile territory.
Do you have any captured Igrean craft in the hangars? Drassik asked.
I have one. Why?
I think I have an idea for Igrave.
Eternal Thought, Taneas.
Batone, I have good news and bad news. All right, bad news first. Igrave is contaminated. I figured that would be it. There's the end of the war. We lost. There's good news, too. Vleur finally pulled his claws out of his face and declassified SuperSim. I've ordered the deployment of scanners throughout Igreus and Igrave. We may not be able to save the Igrean race physically, but we can still move to cyberspace while we wait on a cure for madness.
Batone was instantly more cheerful.
So this whole war hardly matters then, if we can just live on in SuperSim? No, it absolutely does matter. If the Vastraki threat isn't contained, then any equipment used to run SuperSim is subject to physical destruction. Yesterday, Cataclysm was merely about winning the war in an expedient fashion. Today, it's about securing our own continued existence.
House of Medicine, Capital City, Igreus, Preom. Preom's research had been put on indefinite hold in order to deal with the impending Tanakh shortage. With the entire worlds of Igrave and Igrean contaminated, the Igrean alliance was forced to evacuate the planets and start digging out its reserve stores of supplement pills. Preom was tasked with dispensing supplements to refugees coming off ships from the 2 evacuated worlds. It was thankless work, and it wasn't as rewarding as making progress towards a long-term cure.
A
According to your manifest, we're still missing 6 passengers,
Preorm informed the captain of the latest ship.
They're probably asleep in their captains,
The captain informed him.
let me send another all ashore.
The captain paused as he cybernetically gave his ship an order.
Done.
Sure enough, in the next few minutes, 5 more Igrean refugees disembarked and received a supplement.
1 left,
said Preorm.
I hate it when passengers make me pay them a personal visit,
The captain grumbled.
Cabin A10, let's go.
Preorm followed the captain aboard his ship. They made their way to Captain A10.
Passenger Patero, this is the captain. Open up.
A pained howl came from the other side of the door. Preorm exchanged glances with the captain.
He's in trouble. I'm a doctor. Open it up.
The captain issued an override order and the door swung open. They barely had time to regret the hasty decision before a flash of red eyes and white skin eviscerated them. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. I am the Casual Deathworlder, your host, and this has been Deathworld Origins, Chapter 6. I hope you enjoyed listening to it as much as I enjoyed bringing it to you. And let me tell you, this time bringing it to you was a bit of a challenge. My tongue is so tied tonight, it's not even funny. That said, if you enjoyed it, please go ahead and smash those like and subscribe buttons down below and perhaps drop us a comment. And as always, a huge shout out to my editor, Gregor. Thank you very much, buddy, and apologies for the mangled mess that I'm about to give you. Now then, for a second there, I thought I wasn't going to be able to bring you guys anything because when I clicked on the link to find this chapter, the website was gone. I found a back door to it and got the rest of it, but for a second there, I was thinking that, well, this series was done. Fortunately, that is not the case. I have the remaining 2 chapters after this, and hopefully we will be able to get them done in due time. Unfortunately, my work life just kind of went sideways, so recording and releases are going to be kind of intermittent. I pray to God it's not Zren kind of intermittent. If it is, please forgive me. Understand I'm not bailing on anybody. It's just my work is dragging me all over the place. In the meantime, question, who's got the question? Okay, this is kind of a 2-parter. For 2 different audiences. First, for the adult audience, what is your favorite adult beverage? And if you are not of that age yet, what is your favorite non-adult beverage? Leave your answers in the comments down below. Until next time, be safe, be well. I love you all. Bye-bye.
How long will we be able to stave off the madness for?